So that's what this film is all about. Are you all with me? We've still only covered the first 2 minutes of the film. Are you all with me? Okay, let's move on. Commentary number 2. This is only the first 2 minutes. Now the 13-year-old Jiro is still sound asleep. Our protagonist is still in his dream. Jiro's bird-shaped plane lifts off from the roof and rises to a level where he can see the rice paddies around him. And the land is lit by sunlight. It's a beautiful scene. The rising sun turns golden and the rice paddies are flooded with light. Such a dynamic scene. This is the main highlight of the opening. Even the sound is great. You hear a roaring sound and the music changes its tone. You see a lot of beautiful sunrise scenes in Miyazaki's films. The most famous one is probably in the Laputa Castle in the Sky. The morning after Shita spends the night in Pazu's house, the sun rises as Pazu plays a tune on his trumpet on the roof. The light pours into the valley and turns golden. Miyazaki depicts the sunlight in an indirect way. He shows the birds flying and shows the beauty all around it. He even includes Shita's voice saying, "Wow!" As a matter of fact, Miyazaki and Isao Takahata used the same trick more than 10 years ago when they made Heidi, Girl of the Alps. This is the 3rd episode. These are the Alps lit by the sunset, and the mountains are reflecting the golden color. Heidi and Peter are enjoying the spectacular view, and as the sun sinks lower, the mountains become rose-colored. Heidi shouts, "Look at that! It's rose pink!" But the mountains go back to brown within seconds. Heidi is so excited by this brief phenomenon. Peter sees this view every day, but it was new to Heidi. The mountains turning gold, rose pink, and then back to brown. It's quite difficult to show the actual beauty of the scenery in a drawing, so the creative team used Heidi's reaction. They made Heidi say, "The mountains are golden and they are burning pink," in order to indirectly express the beauty of the scenery. Heidi, Girl of the Alps, was made in 1974. Laputa was made in 1986. By then, they were able to depict beauty more directly. By 2013, they had finally succeeded in depicting scenic beauty on screen. The sun shining in from the side of the scene, the rice paddies reflecting the sunlight. 40 years after Heidi, Girl of the Alps, they finally succeeded in depicting the natural beauty of a landscape. After all that work, they finally reached their goal. They were very tenacious. It's impressive. Afterwards, this plane loses altitude and flies low over the rice paddies. Miyazaki inserts this scene in order to create a link to the Zero fighter plane scene at the end of the film. Jiro Horikoshi's dream of flying low over the fields on a beautiful plane is later realized by the pilots of the Zero fighter planes. There's a scene at the end of the film where Zero fighter planes fly low and fast over the fields like dragonflies. However, those pilots never come back. Jiro couldn't become a pilot after all. But that's why he survived. He didn't die because he couldn't become a pilot. So this first scene is here to enhance the significance of the last scene with the Zero fighter planes. After this scene, the villagers don't notice Jiro flying low over the ground. Nobody can see him. Even when he's flying under the bridge, the boatmen don't notice. But the girls working at the spinning mill notice him. This is intentional. Only the pretty girls in the factory notice him flying, but none of the guys in the scene notice him. And the girls even wave at him. Jiro waves back at them, but at this point, he's no longer the 13-year-old Jiro. If you look at him waving, he's already grown up and very good looking. Later, when his plane collides with the airship, he goes back to his 13-year-old self. But in his imagination, he's tall and good looking and not wearing glasses. That's an interesting point in these scenes. He's just 13 years old, so it's understandable. This is the dream of a young boy. Now, why did Miyazaki create this scene? Why did he only make the girls notice Jiro and not the guys? Why did he try to show that Jiro loves girls who treat him like superstars? Why did he try to show the embarrassing, or should I say, bad side of the protagonist? Prior to this film, Miyazaki had never done this before. He did it in comedy films like Lupin III and in Porco Rosso. He does that with comic characters, but not with a serious character like Jiro. He never pokes fun at his characters. That's because, of course, he's competing with Takahata. Takahata has argued through the years in his works like Grave of the Fireflies, Pompoko, The Tale of the Princess Kaguya, that overly subjective stories are bad fantasy. He hates animations that are too emotional. He has repeatedly said that you always need a certain level of objectivity towards the protagonist. So Miyazaki does the complete opposite. He totally immerses himself in the character. TV dramas are always like that. All moving animations and films are like that. J-pop is like that. The artists try to express how sad, how painful, how happy the protagonist is. They do whatever they can to invoke empathy. Takahata, on the other hand, says that we're surrounded by this type of work. It's like a drug. So he completely denounces it and says, we must create films that make people think. Miyazaki was probably irked by this, but was probably also half convinced by Takahata's comments. But this was his last animation, and he finally gave in. He finally did it, but it looks a bit awkward. It seems unnatural. He surely isn't used to this type of approach. Whereas Takahata is more objective and would have succeeded in making the character more credible. It was very unexpected of Miyazaki, and kind of hard to understand.